Hi there, this is Professor Lepe again, and this is a video for NCBM 0302, Unit 3, Section 3. And so in this section, what we want to do is multiply terms, okay? And so again, in the previous Section 3, Unit 3, Section 2, what we did there was we combined terms, but the terms were like, okay? What we're going to do here is we're going to multiply terms, and what you'll notice here is that the terms actually are not like terms. They're different terms, okay, and we'll still have a way to multiply them by adding the exponents, and then perhaps we'll have some examples where the terms are like, okay? So before we get started, what I want to do here is take a look at the example that's already been worked out. So in the example, what they want us to do is multiply the term minus 2x squared times minus 5x to the 3, okay? And really important here, pay attention. If you notice, the first thing that they do is they move all the coefficients to the front of the expression, surrounded by a parentheses, and then they move anything that involves a variable x with exponents to the back, okay? That's going to be this part right here, okay? And then in the last step, what they do is they multiply the coefficients. So negative 2 times the negative 5, that gives you the 10. And then they multiply the x squared times the x raised to the 3, and this gives you x raised to the 5, okay? So maybe off to the side here, we should do a quick review. The bases are the same. The base here is an x. So very quickly, again, as a review, how do you multiply these two terms that have exponents? Well, that's going to be the same thing as a variable x raised to the 2 plus 3, okay? And that's going to give you x raised to the 5, okay? Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at example 1, part A. Okay, so over here, what we'll like to do is to rewrite the expression as parentheses 5 times parentheses 3 times parentheses variable x times parentheses variable x raised to the 2, okay? And so the first terms that we'll multiply will be the 5 and the 3, the coefficients. So the 5 times the 3, that's going to be a 15. And then this is going to turn into x raised to the 3, okay? Why is it x raised to the 3? Well, maybe down here, off to the side, so to speak. The x times the x squared, that's going to be the same thing. X raised to the 1 times x raised to the 2, x raised to the 1 plus 2, x raised to the 3, okay? And so I'll put a box around our answer. So the result of multiplying these two terms, 15 times x raised to the 3, okay? This is different than what we did in the previous section, because in the previous section, if we were asked to combine the terms by addition or subtraction, we would not have been able to do so because the terms are not alike, okay? But in this example 1, part A, we are able to do multiplication, and the multiplication actually hinges upon the fact that we're able to exploit this rule, product rule, for the exponents, okay? Okay, let's take a look at part B, okay? So on part B here, let me go ahead and clean this up, okay? Okay, so it's asking us to multiply the term 6x times the 2x, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead, separate all the terms as individuals, and surround them by parentheses, okay? First thing we'll do is multiply the coefficients. So 6 times the 2, that's going to be a 12, okay? And then the last thing to do will be to multiply these two terms together. So maybe off to the side somewhere or down below. x times x. That's the same thing as x raised to the 1 times x raised to the 1. X raised to the 1 plus 1, x squared. So we'll bring it back into here. And our answer, that's going to be 12 times variable x raised to the 2. And I'll put a box around the answer. Okay. Now, if you notice here on part B, these terms were alike. Okay, so the terms are alike or like terms, so to speak. But the rule for the multiplication is still going to be the same. Okay. And let's take a look at part E. Okay. So in part E, okay, what I want to do here is just keep on doing the same thing like we've been doing in the examples 1, part A and part B. Let's go ahead and rewrite the expression as parentheses -3 times parentheses 0.7 times parentheses x raised to the 3 times parentheses x squared. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the multiplication on the first two terms. That's going to be a -3 times a 0.7. And so in your calculators, if you take the -3, multiply it times a 0.7, you should end up with a -2.1. Okay, and then as far as multiplying these last two terms is concerned, it's x raised to the 3 times x raised to the 2. So yes, we can use the product rule for the exponents. Product rule for the exponent says if the bases are the same, then the result of the product rule will be the sum of the exponents. And so here, as the last part of the answer, it'll be the variable x, which is the base, raised to the 3 plus 2. And that's going to be a 5. Okay, let me write that one better. Okay, that'll be right here. And yeah, maybe above, we'll go ahead and rewrite it as x3 times x2, x raised to the 3 plus 2, x raised to the 5. Okay, and let's do one last one, okay, just to make sure that everybody's fine with the multiplying the terms. Okay, so in part F, again, what we're going to do is we'll move all the coefficients to the front, and then we'll have x squared times variable x. Okay. Okay, so the first multiplication that we'll do will be the 1/2 times the 1/3. And so what's the 1/2 times the 1/3? That's going to be 1/6. Okay, so maybe above here, let's go ahead and see the details of that. 1/2 times 1/3. Okay, so when you're multiplying fractions, what you want to do, multiply the numerators, terms in the numerator, so 1 times 1, and then this is going to be over 2 times 3. Look for any cancellations or cross cancellations, so to speak. We don't have any of those here available. That's fine. And so the result of 1 times 1 numerator, that's going to be a 1. And result of 2 times 3 denominator, that's going to be a 6. Okay? We can't reduce this fraction anymore. The reason why is because the numerator is the unit. The unit means the number 1. We've taken it down as far as we can go. Okay? Okay. And then the last part of the expression, that's going to be the result of x squared times x. Okay? So let's go ahead and do this one just a little bit above here. So this will be x squared times x. And so we can use the product rule for the exponents because the bases are the same. And again, what is the base here? Variable x. So this turns into variable x raised to the 2 plus 1, and the result is x raised to the 3. So final part of the answer, 1/6 times variable x raised to the 3. And let's put a box around the answer. There we go. Okay. And this is the video for multiplying terms.